Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Wednesday, February 10th, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody is doing well. So this is day 2 of the Trump impeachment trial, part 2. This is the second Trump impeachment trial, the first president in U.S. history to have been impeached twice, and rightfully so, because he's a traitor. So today, House impeachment managers made their case against Trump. They revealed new video evidence also, and they showed just how grave and just how close the domestic terrorists came to Vice President Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi and other members of the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. So we'll talk some about this. We see that representative from the Virgin Islands, Stacey Plaskett, she's one of the House impeachment managers, and she presented today, and she is getting a lot of attention. She did a fabulous job. She's a brilliant sister, brilliant attorney. There's a piece from the Washington Post that talks about Representative Stacey Plaskett, who a lot of people did not know about before today. Stacey Plaskett, a House delegate who couldn't vote to impeach Trump, is using her prosecutorial background to try to convict him. It's a good article from Colby Itkowitz for the Washington Post. So we'll talk some about what took place today. And then I want to talk about, there's a story out of Virginia that I haven't gotten a chance to talk about the past few days. There's been so much going on that we've been covering. Virginia House votes to force public colleges to reckon with ties to slavery and create scholarships or other programs. Virginia House of Representatives votes to force public colleges to reckon with ties to slavery and create scholarships or other programs. 5 public colleges and universities in Virginia would be required to detail as much as possible their ties to enslaved Black individuals or African people who worked on their grounds, the grounds of the universities or the colleges, and to establish scholarships or economic development programs to benefit communities descended from those people under a bill in the Virginia House of Representatives that passed last Thursday. So we're going to talk about that. I haven't had a chance. There's been so much we've been covering. I haven't had a chance to get to that story. That is a very, very important story, and that is something taking place at the House level, at the state level, dealing with restitution or reparations when it comes to slavery. Okay, all right, and then we'll talk about Dr. Carter G. Woodson. February 7th. 1926. February 7th was the anniversary of Dr. Carter G. Woodson launching Negro History Week in 1976, the second week in February of 1976. And Dr. Carter G. Woodson is the co-founder for the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. And this is the organization that's the governing body of African American History Month, which used to be called Black History Month. We know in 1976 it became Black History Month and celebrated for a month. All right. So we're going to talk some about Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and we'll deal with February 7th, 1926, when Dr. Carter G. Woodson launched Negro History Week. Negro History Week. All right, so we'll talk about that and more on today's edition of the African History Network show. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control, or a woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Now, if you haven't signed up for my online course, my 8-week, 16-hour online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school, it's not too late to register. Class number 1 was Tuesday, February 9th. That show is archived, so as soon as you register, you can go back and watch that class, class number 1. You can watch it in its entirety, and we actually did an extra 25 minutes, okay, of that class. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and you can register for the online course. There's regularly $130 is on sale, $80. And there's archive content also there. So as soon as you register, you can start watching class number 1. Okay. Class number 2 is going to be Tuesday, February 16th. Tuesday, February 16th is going to be class number 2. And we're dealing with thousands of years of history, and we're dealing with what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. All right. We'll deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors. We'll deal with ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, Kemet being one of the original names for Egypt, meaning land of the blacks. And when we deal with the transatlantic slave trade, we can't start studying our history in slavery. We have to deal with the history leading up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. And we have to understand that African people are the original people of North, Central, and South America and have been in this land we call the United States of America going back at least 51,700 years ago. So if you've seen any of my interviews with Dr. David Imhotep, who wrote the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence, this is one of the books that I reference in the course. And yesterday on Tuesday's class, I showed a clip of an interview that he did back in 2011 on WKRP in Cincinnati, Channel 5. So I've interviewed him a number of times. We've interviewed him here on the African History Network show as recently as October 12th, 2020. So we deal with that history. We deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place as well. And the Moors taking the teachings from ancient Africa into Europe, the math, the science, the astronomy, the algebra, alcohol, soap, sugar, cotton, how to manufacture guns, new ways to manufacture knives and blades, all different types of things like this. They take this into Europe and bring Europe out of the dark ages, but it's going to be to our detriment. It's to the benefit of Europeans, and it's to the detriment of African people. So we deal with all this and more in the class. So we posted the link here. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information right on the homepage of our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register there. You can watch from around the world. As soon as you register, you can start watching class number 1 and the bonus content we have there also. So on Tuesday's class, Tuesday, February 16th, our special guest is going to be cultural anthropologist, Sister Nubia Wartford, who is going to deal with the African queens of Antiquity. And she'll talk some about her archaeological digs in the Sudan, because she goes to the Sudan and actually does archaeological digs. And we'll deal with how this ties into history, because we know that the upper portion of what today is the Sudan and the lower portion of Egypt. In ancient times, that was Nubia or Ta-Nehesi. Okay. And we know that Nubia or Ta-Nehesi is the mother of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. And Abyssinia or Ethiopia is the grandmother to ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt. So there's twice as many pyramids today in the Sudan as there are in Egypt. Okay. So we're going to deal with that history on Tuesday's class. So don't miss that Tuesday, February 16th. All right. So if you like this type of information, also, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, and at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. It helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air 6 days a week. We're here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, and still on Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And March 10th, of 2021 will be my 11th year of radio, 11th year of doing the African History Network show in different formats. In April of 2021, it will be 5 years here on 910 AM, the Superstation WFDF. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Are you getting ready for fall or winter? We have the solution for all seasonal clothing needs. Kemeticwear.com is the go-to online source for Kemetic African fashion and lifestyle products with a contemporary twist. We're committed to offering unique styles reflecting our African heritage. Kemeticwear.com is inspired by KemeticScribes.com to influence our people in learning and showing pride. Please visit our website at Kemeticwear.com.
For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com. Visit 4glossygirls.com. That's the number 4glossygirls.com, and follow them on Instagram at 4glossygirls.
Black Bees products are a collection of natural, organic, personal care products with an appreciation of nature and bees. Our philosophy is without bees, we have nothing. We are honoring our Nile Valley ancestors who understood the importance of bees. Black Bees created a high-quality, natural, organic personal care line that would be affordable to everyone. We hope you try and enjoy our Black Bees products line and come back and visit us at blackbeesproducts.com.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Wednesday, February 10th, 2021, and we are live. Wednesday, February 10th, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody is doing well. It's day 2 of the second impeachment trial, second Senate impeachment trial of one Donald John Trump. So today at the impeachment trial, the House managers showed never before seen footage of Capitol riots. We see that House Democrats prosecuting former President Donald John Trump for inciting the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol began laying out their case today. The impeachment managers, as part of their argument for convicting Trump, as part of their argument for convicting Trump, played never before seen surveillance video from inside the Capitol showing the moment rioters broke in through windows, as well as previously unheard audio of Capitol Police radioing for help. Lead impeachment manager Jamie Raskin opened by saying Democrats will prove Trump was, quote unquote, no innocent bystander on that day, and said Trump had been warned and said Trump had been warned his supporters would cause violence. Trump had been warned his supporters would cause violence. Now, Representative Joe Neguse, a Democrat from Colorado, gave a timeline of events leading up to the attack, saying the mob was, quote unquote, summoned and assembled by Trump. Summoned and assembled by Trump. Quote, he did that because he wanted to stop the transfer of power so that he could retain power even though he had lost the election, Representative Joe Neguse said. So once again, keep in mind, Donald Trump wanted his domestic terrorist thugs to go and stop a constitutionally mandated process that takes place during a joint session of Congress between the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate to certify the Electoral College votes. Okay, the Electoral College voted December 14th, 2020, and they were certifying those Electoral College votes. And he wanted his domestic terrorists to go and stop that constitutionally mandated process to stop the transference of power from him to Joe Biden so Trump would stay in power. Now, Texas Representative Joaquin Castro, Democrat from Texas, argued that Trump's attempts to undermine the election began long before the riot, which is true. Representative Joaquin Castro played clips of Donald Trump repeatedly refusing to commit to a transference of power. Democrats have 16 hours over 2 days to present their case. Trump's lawyers will get the same amount of time when it's their turn. They're not going to use anywhere near 16 hours. Trump's they're so unprepared. They're not going to use anywhere near 16 hours. The Senate voted 56-44 on Tuesday, February 9th, to allow the trial to move forward. after Trump's attorneys argued it was unconstitutional to try him now that he's out of office. Keep in mind, the articles of impeachment were voted on while Donald Trump was still in office in the House of Representatives. 1. 2, Mitch McConnell delayed the trial in the Senate. Mitch McConnell said the earliest the trial would take place in the Senate would be January 19th. That was the day before the inauguration, January 20th, 2021. Mitch McConnell is the one that delayed this, basically. So, and then one of Trump's attorneys yesterday made the idiotic argument that the impeachment was rushed. They needed to do more investigation, but then also said that you can't impeach him because he's out of office. Well, which one is it? Was it rushed and you need more investigation? You need to do more investigating? Or you can't impeach him because he's out of office? It does. Dude, let me tell you something. When I took basic law in 11th grade at Cass Technical High School, taught by Mary Smith, I could have argued a better case than those guys argued. And I would have done it for free. Well, I wouldn't have done it for free. You would have to pay me. But, still, I would have done a better job after taking basic law in 11th grade at Cass Tech. I would have done a better job after I took business law at Wayne State in Wayne State's business school, because we had to take business law to graduate from Wayne State's business school, because you had to understand contracts and understand laws that applies to business. So Donald Trump was extremely unhappy with his team's first showing on Tuesday, and especially displeased with his attorney Bruce Castor's rambling performance, according to 3 sources familiar with his thinking. Bruce Castor, however, denies that. Quote, far from it, attorney Bruce Castor told reporters Tuesday, quote, only one person's opinion matters, and that is what I am going by, end quote. Because there was an article from, I think it was Washington Post, about meandering. Let me see. We try to pull that one up. But it was a really good article that dealt with this. And yeah, they had a poor performance. They had a poor performance on Tuesday. Now, just to be fair, these guys just took this case because 5 of Trump's previous attorneys quit, because it's rumored that Trump wanted them to also argue that the election was stolen and he actually won the election, and they weren't going to do that. Okay. So these guys just took this case. They're dealing with the hand that they were dealt, but they were dealt a hand by, what's his name? Bottom of the deck, Dan, you remember, Skeeter Matthews, you remember, Lester Matthews' son, Skeeter Matthews from Sanford and Son. You remember the episode when, when Lamont was playing against the 4 guys, Skeeter Matthews, Hucklebuck, and some other guys. You remember? And there's one guy dealing from the bottom of the thread, three finger drag with your thumb on top, and then Fred wins all their money, all their clothes, all their watches, things like that, right? You remember that episode of Sanford and Son? So they were dealt a hand using 3-finger drag with your thumb on top. They were dealt from the bottom of the deck. That's the hand they were dealt. Okay. Now, to me, they're dumb as hell to take this case. All right. But it is what it is. Okay. It is what it is. All right. So I want to go to this clip here. This is from NBC Nightly News. All right. Right. I've taught entrepreneurship for a number of years. Everything you want to know about entrepreneurship, you can learn from the episode of Sanford and Son. There are 122 episodes of Sanford and Son over 6 seasons. I have all of them on DVD. I can teach an entire entrepreneurial class. I can teach an MBA level entrepreneurial class using episodes of Sanford and Son. I'm just serious. We could talk about mergers, acquisitions. We could talk about increasing streams of revenue, You know, when they opened up the Sanford Arms, they rented out Julio's place, opened up the Sanford Arms. They went to the bank and got a loan. You know, we can deal with getting loans, collateral, all we can deal with everything. I can teach an entire MBA level entrepreneurship class just using episodes of Sanford and Son. Seriously, we can deal with marketing. You know, we can deal with when Lamont and Julio were merging their businesses together, so we can deal with mergers, everything. So, all right, I want to go to this clip here from NBC Nightly News. This is, let me see, we're going to go to clip 2, Shakita. Impeachment managers show video of VP Mike Pence being rushed away from, let me see, hold on, which one I want to go to. We'll go to clip 1. I'm sorry. We'll go to clip 1, Shakita. House impeachment managers present new security footage of Capitol attack. House impeachment managers present new security footage of Capitol attack. We're going to go to clip 1. Let's go to this clip.
New detail, the country tonight reliving the trauma and horror of the attack on the U.S. Capitol 5 weeks ago today. On day 2 of the impeachment trial of former President Trump, House prosecutors introducing never-before-seen security camera images of the invading mobs. Members of Congress, staffers, even Vice President Pence seen rushing to safety barely ahead of the intruders. Also, never-before-released police radio traffic was played. Outnumbered officers heard desperately pleading for help.
Mr. President, we lost the line. We lost the line.
The dramatic sound and video coming as House impeachment managers began outlining their case that President Trump incited the attack on the Capitol. It never gets easier to see, but we must warn you the images are upsetting. Here's Peter Alexander with late details.
Tonight, House Democrats releasing never-before-seen video from inside the attack that they say former President Trump incited. Body camera footage from an officer being beaten by the mob. Radio calls for help.
This is now effectively a riot.
And new security footage showing those rioters entering the Capitol.
The second man through the window is wearing full tactical body armor.
The graphic presentation, including our first look at the moment Vice President Pence was evacuated from the Senate chamber. Another camera showing Mitt Romney being led away, then quickly turned around by heroic officer Eugene Goodman. And Democratic leader Chuck Schumer also evacuated, then rushed back in the opposite direction to avoid the oncoming crowd.
They were coming at the urging of Donald Trump to keep Congress, a separate branch of government, from certifying the results of a presidential election.
More new security footage of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's staffers hustling into her office minutes before rioters arrived. An aide heard whispering for help. In day 1 of their argument, Democrats pinning responsibility for last month's attack on Mr. Trump.
The evidence will show you that ex-President Trump was no innocent bystander. It will show that Donald Trump surrendered his role as commander-in-chief and became the inciter-in-chief of a dangerous insurrection.
Portraying the assault on the Capitol as the culmination of a months-long campaign by the former president to rile up his supporters with what they called the big lie, using these clips of Mr. Trump.
The only way they can take this election away from us is if this is a rigged election. We're going to win this election.
That's right.
It's a rigged election.
His false claims about election fraud, that was the drumbeat being used to inspire, instigate, and ignite them, to anger them.
Democrats playing these videos of Trump supporters who were at the Capitol to try to prove their case.
I thought I was following my president. I thought I was following what we were called to do. President Trump requested that we be in D.C. on the 6th.
You heard it from them. They were doing what he wanted them to do. He alone, our commander-in-chief, had the power to stop him. And he didn't.
And Democrats say Mr. Trump already knew the impact of his words, highlighting his tweet days before the election, celebrating a caravan of Trump supporters that the Biden campaign said tried to run one of its buses off the road.
His response was to tweet the video of the incident that had fight music, joke about it, and call those individuals in that incident patriots.
Democrats then pointing to this comment at the rally before the deadly riot began.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
He told them to fight like hell, and they brought us hell on that day.
Mr. Trump's lawyers have said their client was using the word fight in a figurative sense, that he never incited violence, accusing Democrats of ignoring this comment from that same speech.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
But tonight, those same lawyers are under intense pressure from Mr. Trump, publicly silent without his Twitter account, but privately fuming about his legal team's day one performance, according to multiple sources. One of his lawyers today dismissing that.
Did President Trump express pleasure about the performance yesterday?
Republican Ted Cruz arguing the Democrats' case is doomed to failure, that the former president will still be acquitted.
It is reminiscent of Shakespeare, that it is full of sound and fury, and yet signifying nothing. And they're going through political theater because for 4 years, congressional Democrats, they've been obsessed, they've been consumed with hatred for President Trump.
And late tonight, Mitt Romney described the new videos as overwhelmingly distressing and emotional, saying it brings tears to your eyes and that he looked forward to thanking Officer Goodman, but he would not predict whether it would convince any of his Republican colleagues to vote to convict.
Okay, so that was from NBC Nightly News. Check that out at NBC.com. Name of that clip is House impeachment managers present new security footage on Capitol attack. House impeachment managers present new security footage of Capitol attack. We're going to post a link here to that clip here on the thread of our broadcast. So check that out at NBCnews.com. Now, Representative Stacey Plaskett is one of the House impeachment managers, and she presented today. Representative Hakeem Jeffries posted on Twitter. We shared this on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. Now, this is a brilliant sister, brilliant attorney. She had on her blue outfit, exhibiting black girl magic. She had kind of a matching mask also. Representative Hakeem Jeffries of New York said Representative Stacey Plaskett did her damn thing today. Hashtag impeachment trial, hashtag defend our democracy. So we posted that here on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, so you can check that out. There's also a good article from the Washington Post about Representative Stacey Plaskett also. Name of this article from the Washington Post is Stacey Plaskett, a House delegate who could not vote to impeach Trump, is using her prosecutorial background to try to convict him, She represents the Virgin Islands. She's a representative of the U.S. Virgin Islands. So the Virgin Islands are not a state. Okay, they are a U.S. territory. I want to go to this clip here. We're going to go to clip 2. This clip here, you'll hear Representative Stacey Plaskett make the argument. Impeachment managers show video of VP Pence being rushed away from Capitol rioters. House impeachment managers presented video evidence of then Vice President Mike Pence being ushered away with his family during the Capitol riots. Now, keep in mind, Donald Trump sent his domestic terrorist thugs to the U.S. Capitol building to get Mike Pence, to stop the constitutionally mandated process and to get Mike Pence. Okay? And Pence has been like the most loyal to Trump. This is what happens when you deal with a thug and a snake. okay, and somebody who has no morals. This is what happens. They turn on you. Let's go to clip 2, Shakita. Okay, we'll get that queued up.
Vice President Pence was still in the room near the Senate chamber. It was not until 2:26 that he was evacuated to a secure location. This next security video shows that evacuation. His movements are depicted by the orange dot in our model. The red and blue dots represents the location where the mob and Officer Goodman were, and where Officer Goodman led the mob away from the chamber just moments ago. You can see Vice President Pence and his family quickly move down the stairs. The Vice President turns around briefly as he's headed down. As Pence was being evacuated, rioters started to spread throughout the Capitol. Those inside helped other rioters break in through doors in several locations around this entire building. And the mob was looking for Vice President Pence because of his patriotism, because the Vice President had refused to do what the President demanded and overturn the election results. During the assault on the Capitol, extremists reportedly coordinated online and discussed how they could hunt down the Vice President. Journalists in the Capitol reported they heard rioters say they were looking for Pence in order to execute him. Trump's supporters had erected a gallows on the lawn in front of the Capitol building. Another group of rioters chanted, "Hang Mike Pence," as they stood in the open door of the Capitol building. You can hear the security alarm from the door in the background, and you can hear the mob calling for the death of the Vice President of the United States. This wasn't an isolated area or incident where that was being told, where that was being said. It was going on everywhere. Here's another example of the crowd outside yelling, "Bring out Pence. Bring him out." Bring him out. Bring him out. Bring out Pence. Bring him out. Bring out Pence. Bring him out. Bring out Pence. Bring him out. After President Trump had primed his followers for months and inflamed the rally-goers that morning, it is no wonder that the Vice President of the United States was the target of their wrath after Pence refused to overturn the election results. Listen to this man explain.
Well, Congress, cowards hid in their inside and were emergency escorted away because of fear of the people. Of course, they're cowards, can't face the people, can't do the right thing. Pence lied to us. He's a total treasonous pig, and his name will be mud forever. Now the real battle begins. It looks like the American people are very pissed. So, good luck with that. Peace out.
Okay, so these clearly are people who are ignorant of history, ignorant of law, ignorant of the U.S. Constitution. And they're dumb enough to believe a con man like Trump, who, if you listen, been watching my show for years, you know, in 2016, for months leading up to the presidential election, I warned you about Trump and how dangerous he would be. Told you he was totally unfit to be president. He was pushing numerous conspiracy theories back in 2016. And we see how dangerous this is. And we see how dangerous it is when you have ignorant people who can be radicalized, ignorant people who can be radicalized, like those domestic terrorist Trump supporters. Okay, and now many of them realize that they were believing a lie and things like this, and crying crocodile tears, etc. Okay, tell it to the judge. Tell it to the judge. All right. So there's a article here from two of them from Washington Post, also one from NBC News. Five takeaways from day two. 5 takeaways from day 2 of Trump's impeachment trial. 5 takeaways from day 2 of Trump's impeachment trial. So check that out from Washington Post. They talk about Jamie Raskin, extended fire in the theater metaphor, connecting the dots on Trump's actions. I mean, the House impeachment managers did a masterful job today. Okay. So check this out. Making the case on Trump and violence. We may talk some more. We'll talk some more about this tomorrow. So there's one from the Washington Post. 5 takeaways from. We'll pull this up here. Also, the calling number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a quick question or comment. 5 takeaways from day 2 of Trump's impeachment trial from the Washington Post from February 10th, 2021 by Aaron Blake. Okay. Then we have another one from the Washington Post dealing with our sister Representative Stacey Plaskett, who represents the U.S. Virgin Islands. Read about this brilliant sister here. Stacey Plaskett, a House delegate who could not vote to impeach Trump, is using her prosecutorial background to try to convict him. Stacey Plaskett, a House delegate who could not vote to impeach Trump, is using her prosecutorial background to try to convict him. This is from February 10th, 2021, written by Colby Itkowitz. And an excerpt of the article says the chilling unseen footage of a riotous mob storming through the U.S. Capitol, intent on killing Vice President Mike Pence and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was presented to senators by a non-voting member of Congress from the Virgin Islands. Delegate Stacey Plaskett, a former prosecutor in the Bronx, could not even vote on the article of impeachment against Trump, but in her role as impeachment manager, she has emerged in the Senate trial as a commanding presence entrusted with the grave task of showing how dangerously close the rioters came to lawmakers and staff members on January 6th. Quote, the vice president, the speaker of the House, the first and second in line to the presidency were performing their constitutional duties, presiding over the election certification, and they were put in danger, said Representative Stacey Plaskett. Quote, President Trump put a target on their backs. And his mob broke into the Capitol to hunt them down. Now, at the beginning of her evening presentation, Representative Stacey Plaskett, 54, shared that she had been in the Capitol on another harrowing day when all the lives of those working inside were in danger. On September 11th, 2001, Representative Stacey Plaskett was a staffer in the House, and she reflected on how she might be dead if Flight 93 had reached the Capitol as planned. Quote, when I think of that, and I think of these insurgents, these images incited by our president, of the United States attacking this Capitol to stop the certification of a presidential election, our democracy, our republic. Now, before returning to her ancestral home in the Virgin Islands, Stacey Plaskett spent much of her career in Washington. She attended Georgetown University for her undergraduate degree and American University for her law school. Then a Republican, she worked as a staffer on Capitol Hill and in the Justice Department in the George W. Bush administration. She became a Democrat in 2008, ahead of her first unsuccessful run for delegate in the U.S. Virgin Islands in 2012. She won this in 2014. Okay, her selection to the manager's team, the impeachment manager's team, is a reunion of sorts with Representative Jamie B. Raskin, Democrat of Maryland, the lead House impeachment manager, an opportunity to learn again from her former law professor at American University. Okay, check out the rest of this article here. It's a good article about Representative Stacey Plaskett, who represents the U.S. Virgin Islands. Since the U.S. Virgin Islands are not a state in the Union, they are a territory. She does not get a in the House of Representatives for the impeachment of Trump. She could not vote, but she is on the impeachment team to prosecute and to try to convict him. All right, check out this article here from Washington Post. Now, there was also a good one as well from NBC News. This is dealing with day 2 of the impeachment trial. Okay, this is just a sample of the things I read on a daily basis. Okay, I monitor about 35 different news sources daily, so this is just a sample of that information. If you follow us on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, you see some of the articles I post throughout the day. You get a better, you'll see more of the type of information that I cover daily, and we share some of that information here on our show every day. Okay, harsh reminder, key takeaways from day 2 of Trump's second impeachment trial. Democratic impeachment managers used Trump's past words to make him a constant presence as they played raw video of the January 6th attack. Now, this is from NBCnews.com also, so check out this article as well. All right. We're almost out of time here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. Those watching on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, keep watching. You can still register for my online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. That is a 8-week, 16-hour online course. Okay, we deal with thousands of years of history, and we deal with what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. It's regularly $130 on sale, $80. Class number one was February 9th, 2021, February 9th. So as soon as you register, you can watch class number 1, and there's bonus content also. Class number 2 will be Tuesday, February 6th, 8 p.m. To 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, February 16th, Tuesday, February 16th. Our special guest will be cultural anthropologist Sister Nubia Wardford, who does archaeological digs in the Sudan. And we're going to talk about the African queens of antiquity and talk some about her archaeological digs as well. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. The information is right on the homepage. You can register for that online course at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right, we're out of time here. Remember, right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Stay tuned for Pastor Greg Davis. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. All right, stand by. Stand by, everybody.
With BlackBusinessTea.com, the messages are clear and meaningful. Keep your business in the black and out of the red. Mind your black business. Know your numbers and plan strategically. Black Business Boss, lead your industry. Support black business, encourage, patronize, and uplift one another. BlackBusinessT.com currently has products sold in Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles, with proceeds returned to the black community. They have a wide selection of hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, sweatshirts that support black-owned businesses. Visit the website blackbusinesstee.com. That's blackbusinesstee.com.
Do you have an idea or business that requires app development or thinking of moving your IT resources to the cloud? We have post-paid and profit-sharing plans for unique ideas or profitable businesses. Who can take advantage of this unique program? Entrepreneurs with unique ideas, startups, small to medium businesses. Contact us 267-209-0352.
Visit nomadicsystems.net, nomadicsystems.net today. Intuitive Design Clothing is an online accessory store that sells one-of-a-kind signature statement pieces for men and women. They also specialize in fashion consultations, closet organization, and decorating small spaces. Are you looking for a statement piece for a special affair, or would you like to add some select pieces to your ensemble of accessories? If you're looking for something different, definitely contact Kathy Norman, and CEO of Intuitive Design Clothing. Visit their website, intuitivedesignClothing.com. That's intuitivedesignClothing.com, and you can email her at info@intuitivedesignClothing.com. Intuitive Design Clothing is where every entrance is a grand entrance. Soul Natural Beauty Products offers organic, plant-based skin and hair care products that will rejuvenate skin and naturally grow and thicken hair. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. It thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all types of hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. Their all-natural 24-hour deodorant leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric, goes on smoothly, and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can be used by men, women, and even children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. That's soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com, and follow them on Facebook at Soul Natural Beauty Products.
Okay, stand by. How's everybody doing? Okay, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com for more information. Then also we have the bundle pack, our 15 DVD bundle pack, Michael Imhotep Black History Month bundle pack as well. Includes 15 of my lectures dealing with history and dealing with African American History Month also. Okay, so that's a good bundle pack. We have those shipping out each day. That's a good, that'll get you started and gives you a lot of information to talk about for African American History Month. We'll post that link here as well. Let me take you to our website right quick. If you sign up for our online course, and I do a PowerPoint presentation. We do have video clips, book references, articles, everything. It's about 50 articles I reference. There's a number of books. So if you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, right on the home page, let's see, scroll down. You'll see the information for the radio show, the African History Network show. You'll see me. You can read articles that I write. I have a good article here dealing with the history of African American History Month with Dr. Carter G. Woodson. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. See the information for the class. This is class number 1 here. Click register here. You'll see the flyer also. Click register here. Okay. And takes you to the page and you sign up for the course here. Just click on enroll and click right here on the purplish button for enroll. And once you enroll, you can watch class number 1. You can watch the bonus content. And the information will be there for class number 2 also for February 16th, 2021. All right, let's continue. How's everybody doing? Okay, and African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. All right, we'll be here for a few more minutes. I want to go to this other story here. We'll talk some more about the impeachment trial tomorrow. I want to go to this other story here. There's a so there's more and more talk about various forms of restitution or reparations, and you've heard me talk about this before, and how we need to make legal arguments for reparations. And I've also talked about how in the House of Representatives in the U.S. Senate, there's not enough support, there's not enough people in the House and the Senate to support reparations to even get H.R. 40 passed in just the House of Representatives alone. Okay, and Democrats control the House. There's not enough support. H.R. 40, House Resolution 40, can't even pass, can't even get out of committee in the House of Representatives. And it can't even pass the House. There's not you have to vote more people into office that support reparations and vote people out of office that don't support it. It's a numbers game. That's part of it. Another part of it is understanding. Another part of it is understanding that America needs a massive history lesson, and Americans are very ignorant of history. So, Americans need a massive history lesson dealing with the history of slavery and how the conditions and structural inequities that exist today are a legacy of slavery. When we deal with the median household net worth of a white household being 10 times that of an African American household, structural inequities dealing with the racial wage gap, health disparities, all different types of things like this. It's a legacy of slavery and the policies put in place. This is why the study from Citigroup is so important, that deals with racism has cost the U.S. $16 trillion. Racism has cost the U.S. $16 trillion over the past 20 years. Okay. That's why this study is so important, because this provides evidence. A lot of people say, H.R. 40 is a bill to study reparations, the legacy of slavery, the impact that slavery has had on African Americans, the negative impact it's had on African Americans and America in general, and to make recommendations on on the form that reparations should be in, or restitution should be in, and how to distribute it. Some people say, well, we don't need any more studies. We've already done the studies. I totally disagree with that. Because do you understand how ignorant people are in the House of Representatives in the U.S. Senate? Just listen to some of the excuses defending Donald Trump from members of the House of Representatives, 140 Republicans in the House, and members in the U.S. Senate. And when you listen to them, in general, many of them are ignorant of history. They need an education in history, and America needs an education in history. So when we look at this study here, when we look at this article from CBS News dealing with this study from Citigroup, racism has cost the U.S. $16 trillion, Citigroup finds. This is from September 23rd, 2020. You've heard me talk about this before, and I'll keep talking about this because this is a crucial piece of evidence as part of this whole re-education process. And this is something definitely that we should talk about during this month as African American History Month. Okay. And let me see. I'm going to post this here as well. And then now this ties into the next story dealing with the House of Representatives in Virginia and some type of restitution for slavery from 5 public colleges. But America could have been $16 trillion richer. America could have been $16 trillion richer if not for inequities in education, housing, wages, and business investment between African American and white Americans over the past 20 years. This is not dealing with 400 years. This is not dealing with 246 years. 400 years, I'm not exactly sure what people, I guess they're talking about 1619 to 2019, which is really a real misunderstanding of history, because chattel slavery didn't even exist in the 13 colonies in 1619. When you go study those 29 Africans that came into Virginia on the White Lion pirate ship, it was a pirate ship that hijacked the San Juan Bautista around the Gulf of Mexico, and they took off. They captured about 50 Africans off of that Portuguese slave ship. But codified slave laws didn't even exist in the 13 colonies in 1619. Okay, codified slave laws did not even exist in the 13 colonies in 1619. This is why we really have to understand history. Those first 29 Africans, they're going to be freed after about 3 to 5 years. They're put into a form of indentured servitude. The first colony, first British colony, I'm not talking about the Spanish colonies. The first British colony to have codified slave laws was Massachusetts in 1641. They come to Virginia in about 1661. So the whole way we think slavery evolved in the 13 colonies, for the most part, is not even how slavery evolved in the 13 colonies. This is why America needs a massive history lesson. Okay, so the study released, so this is from September 2020. The study released by Citigroup is the latest in a body of research that attempts to quantify the economic impact of systemic racism. Citigroup arrived at its $16 trillion figure after estimating that, 1, African Americans have lost $113 billion in potential wages over the past 2 decades because they could not get a college degree. 2, the housing market lost $218 billion in sales because African American applicants could not get home loans. 3, about $13 trillion in business revenue never flowed into the U.S. economy because African American entrepreneurs could not access bank loans. So what this is showing is how racism directed towards African Americans, how it is negatively impacting everybody in this country, regardless of race, how it's negatively impacting everybody because it's impacting the U.S. economy, and every ethnic group, our economics are interconnected, intertwined. Okay. Somebody said first slave ship arrived in 1502 by the Spanish. First slave ship arrived where? In 1502. You have Juan Ponce de Leon coming into Florida in 1513 with Juan Garrido. Juan Garrido was of African descent. He was born in West Africa in 1480. You have the Spanish taking Africans into the territory we call South Carolina and Georgia in 1526. But in 1502, I mean, what are you talking about in 1502? Okay. So what's more, the U.S. could have $5 trillion. The U.S. could have $5 trillion in gross domestic product over the next 5 years if gaps in others were closed today, the study indicated. So it's showing the impact that racism is having on everybody, even though African Americans get the majority, the brunt of racism is directed towards us. It's showing the impact it has on everyone. One, two, is showing how everyone can benefit if you close these racial gaps, if you address this issue. Now, this was addressed in the executive order from January 20th that Joe Biden did. This was on the first day of, this was the inauguration day, okay? This was inauguration day. And if you look at this executive order here, and we're going to switch over to it. If you look at this executive order, I've talked about it before, and this all ties into history, law, and policies. This is all connected. History, law, and policies. If we look at this executive order from January 20th, 2021, inauguration day, there were 10 executive orders he did on the first day. This is one of them. Executive order on advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. Okay. Executive order on advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. This was on first day in office, which was a half a day actually, January 20th, 2021, because he wasn't sworn in. The inauguration ceremony was 12 noon, 2021. But if we look at this here, they talk about, for example, an analysis shows, and I want to blow this up. Now, you can read all executive orders at whitehouse.gov, official website of the White House. I encourage everybody to read all 45 plus executive orders. Read all executive orders, and also all the speeches that the president gives, the vice president gives. They have the transcripts of the speeches there. They also have the video of the speeches. Go research that. So this says here, for example, and so let me just back up. By advancing equity across the federal government, we can create opportunities for the improvement of communities that have been historically underserved, which benefits everyone. For example, an analysis shows that closing racial gaps in wages, housing credit, lending opportunities, and access to higher education would amount to an additional $5 trillion in gross domestic product in the American economy over the next 5 years. Okay. The federal government's goal in advancing equity is to provide everyone with the opportunity to reach their full potential. Consistent with these aims, each agency must assess whether and to what extent its programs and policies perpetuate systemic barriers to opportunities and benefits for people of color and other underserved groups. Read this full executive order, okay? Because when they talk about that $5 trillion, that came directly from the study from Citigroup, which then ties into the legacy of slavery. Now, you don't have to say slavery. See, what a lot of people don't understand is strategy. African Americans are 14% of the U.S. population. Just to be honest with you, you're not going to get bills passed just talking about black, because you're 14% of the population. Do you realize how many white people in the House of Representatives and U.S. Senate got to vote on this stuff? The Congressional Black Caucus is only 60 people, and most of them in the House. There's only 2.5 black people in the U.S. Senate, and one of them is not even a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. That's Black Tea Party Republican Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. And he's already said he's not voting for reparations. If you ever study the history of slavery in this country, and you don't have to have studied African American history for 28 years or anything like that. If you ever study the history of slavery in this country, ask yourself this question. Why did most slaves who run away at nighttime and not in the daytime? If you ever study the history of slavery in this country, ask yourself the question. Why did most slaves who run away at nighttime and not in the daytime? One can make the argument you could see better in the daytime, so it's easier to see where you're going. Someone else can make the argument that is true, but the people who are coming to capture you and take you back to the plantation can see better in the daytime also. So oftentimes people don't understand strategy, because the fact of the matter is, any of these policies that get passed through the legislative branch of government, the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, being that we're 14% of the population and only have about 59 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives out of 435 seats, and only have 2.5 seats in the U.S. Senate out of 100 seats in the U.S. Senate. Any of these policies, if you want to get them passed that benefit African Americans, you're going to have to show how they also benefit everybody else. Now, even though we get the majority of the benefit from these policies, just like I showed you in the executive order, closing the racial wealth gaps, closing the racial gaps would increase U.S. economy by $5 trillion over 5 years. That will have a huge impact on African Americans, but it'll benefit everybody else. But if you only have 59 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives out of 435 seats, and you got 2.5 seats in the U.S. Senate out of 100, and you're just talking about black, and you don't understand how to show how these policies that benefit us will also positively impact everybody else to actually get the bills passed, a lot of us don't understand strategy and actually how to bring into fruition what it is we say we want in these YouTube videos and documentaries and conferences we go to every year. Some people don't want to tell you the truth. I don't give a damn. I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth. Because in business school you learn the concept of win-win and how to market your idea, how to promote your idea, and show how it benefits everybody. That's what you're gonna have to do. But a lot of us don't understand that. And see, I'm somebody who's actually been involved in writing public policy for the city of Detroit. So I understand that. Okay. So that's the difference between theory and actual practical application. A lot of stuff sounds good in documentaries, but in practical application, that stuff don't work. Okay. So once again, read this article, read the executive order. That ties into the article from Citigroup. Okay. Now, if we were 50%, 60%, 70% of the U.S. population, our strategy could be different. We're not. We're 14% of the population. It is what it is. We have to understand strategies and understand why enslaved Africans who ran away at nighttime and not in the daytime. They had strategy. Okay. Then read the article from Citigroup as well. From CBS News about Citigroup. Okay, now let's look at this from there's an article from the Washington Post dealing with Virginia State House. Okay. And we'll pull this up here also. Virginia House votes to force public colleges. Virginia House votes to force public colleges to reckon with ties to slavery. Let's bring this up here. To reckon with ties to slavery, create scholarships or other programs. All right. So this is from February 4th, 2021. I saw a big article from the Washington Post about this, and I saw some other articles some other outlets had, and I've been meaning to talk about this here on the show, but it's we've been covering so much. It's been so busy. I haven't had a chance to get to this story. So we're going to deal with this now. And this is a good story to deal with during African American History Month also. Okay, let's pull this up here. This ties into history. This ties into policy as well. This ties into law. Who's in office? Okay, Virginia House votes to force public colleges to reckon with ties to slavery, create scholarships or other programs. This is by Nick Anderson, February 4th, 2021. Five public colleges and universities in Virginia, okay, where those 20 and odd Africans on that White Line pirate ship came into Virginia, okay, and they were traded on August 20th, 1619 for food and supplies and water. 5 public colleges and universities in Virginia would be required to detail as much as possible their ties to enslaved African people, or Black individuals, as they say it, who worked on their grounds, and to establish scholarships or economic development programs to benefit communities descended from those people under a bill the Virginia House passed Thursday. So when you talk about a bill, you're talking about legislation. You're talking about politics. You're talking about policy. Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. This is politics. The bill is written by people elected into office. The bills that people write, the bills that people support, correlate with their understanding of history. This is addressing history. This is addressing the legacy of slavery. You need people in office who are competent and sensitive to your history, but they have to know it and understand it to be competent. The bill seeks to hold accountable the College of William and Mary, the University of Virginia, Virginia Commonwealth University, Virginia Military University, Virginia Military Institute, and Longwood University for their institutional actions during Virginia's long history of supporting and defending slavery from the colonial era, okay, before the American Revolution, from the colonial era through the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. This is all dealing with history and people's understanding of history. The bill seeks to hold accountable the College of William and Mary, one of the oldest colleges in the country, the University of Virginia, Virginia Commonwealth University, Virginia Military Institute, and Longwood University for their institutional actions during Virginia's long history of supporting and defending slavery from the colonial era through the U.S. Civil War. Each of the 5 schools in recent years has confronted or begun to confront what role it played Oh, let me blow this back up. Okay, during Virginia's long history of supporting and defending slavery from the colonial era through the Civil War. All this is dealing with history and the legacy of history and the policies, laws put in place that shape the conditions that we deal with right here today. And it was public policy that created the conditions of today. Is going to be public policy that corrects those conditions. The solution to bad public policy is not economic empowerment, like some people want you to believe. I'm all for economic empowerment. I've been studying that longer than most people, taught entrepreneurship for 7 years, help people, mainly African Americans, start businesses, get funding for businesses, critique their business plans, all that stuff. But I also managed African American companies that had government contracts. I also understand history, and I understand how laws and policies shape the economy that your African American business operates based upon. It was public policy that put us in this predicament. It's going to be public policy that takes us out of this predicament. Each of the 5 schools in recent years has confronted or begun to confront what role it played in the enslavement of people of African descent. In that way, they are hardly unique. From north to south and east to west, colleges and universities have launched similar reviews of their institutional history. Once again, we're dealing with history, their institutional history, and what should be done to acknowledge and atone for it. Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore became one of the latest to address the issue in 2020, last year in 2020, when it revealed that its namesake, Johns Hopkins, its namesake benefactor had enslaved people. And we talked about that here on this show. This movement has led many schools to remove Confederate monuments and symbols, rename buildings, and establish memorials to those who were enslaved. Once again, you deal with Confederate monuments. You deal with the legacy of the U.S. Civil War, dealing with history. And Confederate monuments were largely erected to terrorize African Americans and to keep us in a subservient position in society. The Confederate monuments are honoring traitors to the Union who took up arms and incited an insurrection to overthrow the U.S. government. And they seceded from the Union. They wanted to maintain slavery, maintain their way of life, and they took up arms against the U.S. government. February 9th, 1861, Jefferson Davis was elected president of the Confederacy. Jefferson Davis from Mississippi, and a slave owner. February 9th, 1861, he was elected as president of the first president of the Confederacy, and he wanted an insurrection. February 9th, 2021, another traitor to the Union named Donald John Trump was put on trial in the U.S. Senate for inciting an insurrection. February 9th, 1861, Jefferson Davis was elected as the first president of the Confederacy, and he wanted to incite an insurrection. And 160 years later, February 9th, 2021, another traitor to the Union named Donald Trump was put on trial in the U.S. Senate for inciting an insurrection. Let's go back to this article from the Washington Post. Everybody all right? Okay, share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. You're not going to find this type of information in a lot of other places. But the Virginia legislation, House Bill 1980, seeks to advance this reckoning in a more comprehensive way at 5 schools which were founded before the abolition of slavery. The bill, which the Democratic led House of Delegates approved Thursday on a vote of 61 to 39. I'd like to know who the 39 people were who voted against it. Calls for the schools to identify and memorialize, quote, to the extent possible, all enslaved individuals who labored on former and current institutionally controlled grounds and property. It also calls for the schools to provide a, quote, tangible benefit such as a scholarship or community-based economic development program for individuals or specific communities with a demonstrated historic connection to slavery that will empower families to be lifted out of the cycle of poverty, that will empower families to be lifted out of the cycle of poverty. So we're looking at the connection between economic conditions and laws and policies put in place in the legacy of slavery. The bill would bar the schools from using state funds or tuition revenue for what is called the Enslaved Ancestors College Access Scholarship and Memorial Program. Okay, the bill would bar the schools from using state funds or tuition revenue for what is called the Enslaved Ancestors College Access Scholarship and Memorial Program. That means the initiative is likely to require private fundraising or endowment revenue for support. There is no estimate for what the efforts would cost. The issue now moves to the Democratic-controlled state Senate. Okay, the Democratic-controlled state Senate in Virginia. Now, David A. Reed, Democrat from Loudoun in Virginia, the chief patron of the measure, said, "We have to recognize that the racial problems we have in America are things that have been generations in the making. Multi-generations of commitment," he said, "the bill envisions multi-generations of commitment to address the legacy of slavery." Multi-generations of commitment to address the legacy of slavery. Now, officials at the schools had no comment on the House bill passed. Quote, "We don't typically comment on bills before the General Assembly completes its work," Brian Woodson, a spokesman for William and Mary, wrote in an email. Now, founded in 1693, because William and Mary is one of the oldest universities or colleges in the country, founded in 1693, I should say, founded in 1693, and based in Williamsburg. William and Mary has grown from a colonial college to a modern research university. Its roots were deeply entwined with slavery. Its roots were deeply entwined with slavery. Quote, "William and Mary continues to be dedicated to telling a fuller, more consequential account of our history," Woodson wrote. Now, in 2009, the school launched what is known as the Lemon Project, Lemon, the Lemon Project, named for a man it once enslaved, the Lemon Project. This project is designed to research its role in slavery and racial segregation. Last year, in 2020, the governing board of William and Mary approved a design for a memorial to people the college had enslaved. The $2 million project is expected to be finished in spring 2022. Quote, "We have fewer details about enslaved individuals at William and Mary," Woodson wrote. "Part of the issue is that most records were destroyed during fires or lost over time. As of now, we have identified 188 enslaved individuals as of now, we have identified 188 enslaved individuals who labored at William and Mary College, but that important research continues. Now, the University of Virginia was founded in 1819 by Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. president, who was a big-time slave owner. In his lifetime, he owned about 600 slaves over the course of his lifetime. In 2007, University of Virginia's governing board approved a resolution expressing regret for the use of enslaved people at the school. In the years since the reckoning at Charlottesville, Virginia, 2017, the Unite the Right rally, August 2017. In the years since, the reckoning at Charlottesville has accelerated. In 2018, University of Virginia released a report on the role of slavery at the university. Quote, slavery in every imaginable way was central to the project of designing, funding, building, and maintaining the school. Okay, the University of Virginia, founded by a slave owner. So that makes sense. Thomas Jefferson at the Philadelphia Convention in 1787, when they drafted the Constitution, Thomas Jefferson sided with other colonies who wanted to abolish the international transatlantic slave trade. And the international transatlantic slave trade dealt with bringing Africans in this country as slaves, to enslave them, bringing the Africans in this country to enslave them. Well, Thomas Jefferson sided with that because he felt if you cut off the supply of Africans coming to this country to be slaves, that would then increase the value of Africans who were already here who were slaves, which would increase the wealth of slave owners like him. So it's fitting that the University of Virginia that Thomas Jefferson founded, it's in 1819, it's fitting that, quote, slavery in every way imaginable was central to the project of designing, funding, building, and maintaining the school, University of Virginia, that Thomas Jefferson founded. The university recently finished construction of a memorial to enslaved laborers. Now, VMI in Lexington and Longwood in Farmville, Virginia, were both founded in 1839. In Farmville, were both founded in 1839. VMI under scrutiny recently for allegations of racism at the military college in December removed from its campus a statue of Confederate General Stonewall Jackson, Thomas Stonewall Jackson, okay, who is on the side of Stone Mountain. We talked about Stone Mountain yesterday, on yesterday's show. Research Stone Mountain in Georgia, okay? And on the side of Stone Mountain are the carvings of three traitors to the Union, quote-unquote Confederate heroes, General Robert E. Lee and Thomas Stonewall Jackson and Jefferson Davis. That's on the side of Stone Mountain in Georgia. Let's get a picture of Stone Mountain here. Here we go. Can we blow this up here? Let me see. Can we get a good picture right here? Cause see, I've been to Stone Mountain. I've been to the top of Stone Mountain. Talk about getting to the mountaintop. You know, I've been to the mountaintop, right? I wanted to get down off that mountain because when I went into the souvenir shop at the top of Stone Mountain. Now this is Stone Mountain. This is Stone Mountain in Georgia. It's a huge mountain. On the side of the mountain, you have to understand the history of Georgia. Okay, read this article from SmithsonianMag.com. Okay, Smithsonian Institute. What will happen to Stone Mountain, America's largest Confederate memorial? The Georgia landmark is a testament to the enduring legacy of white supremacy. Now, this article is from August 22nd, 2017. What will happen to Stone Mountain, America's largest Confederate memorial? The Georgia landmark is a testament to the enduring legacy of white supremacy. This is written by Lorraine Bossonaut for Smithsonian Mag. But this is on the side of Stone Mountain. You have the carvings of General Robert E. Lee, Thomas Stonewall Jackson, and Jefferson Davis, 3 traitors to the Union, all of them slave owners. That's there right now on the side of Stone Mountain in Georgia. And when you get to the top of Stone Mountain, there's a souvenir shop. And inside the souvenir shop, on all the souvenirs, the keychains, the pennants, the hats, the mugs, everything in there are the images of these 3 traitors. They have like the carving of the side of the mountain. They have it on all the souvenirs inside of the Stone Mountain souvenir shop. All right. So let's go back to this article. Check out this article here from the Washington Post. So in December, they removed from his campus a statue of Confederate General Stonewall Jackson. He had taught physics at the college before fighting in defense of slavery in the Civil War. Now, through a spokesman, Bill Wyatt, VMI said it has undertaken an ongoing research project to identify enslaved persons who worked on post. The school is also reviewing its iconography, ceremonies, and memorials. Though VMI does not currently have a memorial to the enslaved individuals who worked at VMI, the statement said, it is within the Institute's purview to do so. Now, Longwood originally was a female seminary in Prince Edward County. Larissa Smith, Longwood's provost, said the state took over the college in 1884, nearly 2 decades after the Civil War. Prior to 1884, we have no institutional records that indicate or shed light on the use of enslaved labor. From what we know about antebellum Prince Edward County, labor practices and brick masonry, it seems likely that white, free black, and enslaved laborers were employed in constructing the original seminary building. It seems likely that white, free black, and enslaved laborers were employed in constructing the original seminary building. Okay. All right, so check out the rest of this article here. This is from the Washington Post. Virginia House votes to force public colleges to reckon with ties to slavery. Virginia House votes to force public colleges to reckon with ties to slavery, create scholarships or other programs. Okay. This is from February 4th, 2021 from the Washington Post. Check out that article. We'll post a link here. All right, we'll talk, we're out of time here. We'll talk about Dr. Carter G. Woodson on tomorrow's show. February 7th, 1926, Dr. Carter G. Woodson launched Negro History Week. He was an educator. He taught at Howard University, first African-American. Well, he's the second African-American to get a PhD from Harvard, first African-American of African slave descent, because Dr. W.B. Du Bois was born to free parents. And we'll talk some about the Association for the Study of African-American Life and History. But on February 7th, 1926, Dr. Carter G. Woodson initiated the first celebration of Negro History Week, which led to Black History Month, to extend and deepen the study and scholarship on African American history. Okay, on African American history all year long. All right. Dr. Woodson felt that it didn't make sense just to teach our history 1 month out of the year. We had to teach our history year round. But that week, the second week in February, it was you're going to have all these celebrations taking place, all these programs put on, and that cultural celebration had a focus on children, had a focus on youth, and it was a period of time for the youth to show what they have been studying all year about our history. So Dr. Woodson, is known as the father of Black history. So we'll talk about him on Thursday show. We'll talk about him some more on Thursday show. I wrote a piece that's at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, about the origins of African American History Month. But February 7th, 1926, Dr. Carter G. Woodson launched Negro History Week. We know that this year's annual theme for African American History Month, and there is a annual theme each year. You can read about it at asala.org. Asala is the official website. Asala.org is the official website of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, the organization that Dr. Carter G. Woodson co-founded September 9th, 1915. This year's annual theme is the Black family, representation, identity, and diversity. The Black family, representation, identity, and diversity. Okay. So we'll talk some more about that also. All right. Be sure to register for the online course that I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. It's on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 consecutive Tuesdays. As soon as you register, you can watch class number 1. Okay, we did class number 1 February 9th. Next class is February 16th. All the shows are archived. We do them live, but all the shows are archived. You can go back and watch it over and over again. You don't have to be present in class to gain access. As soon as you register, you can watch class number 1. There's bonus content that you can watch also. And then class number 2 will be Tuesday, February 16th, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And our guest is going to be Sister Nubia Wartford, who's a cultural anthropologist. And and she goes to the Sudan and does archaeological digs in the Sudan. And we're going to talk about the African queens of Antiquity, and some of her archaeological digs, how that ties into history. Okay. How that ties into history. All right. Also, if you'd like this time, you can visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register right there on the homepage. Also, we posted the link here. And if you'd like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me /the AHN show, paypal.me /the AHN show. All right, remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace.
For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com. Gain knowledge in minutes with Blacklist Ed. Blacklist Ed is an app that provides insightful summaries of books pertaining to the Black experience. As Black people, we know the importance of reading books to discover our incredible contributions to world history, to uplift our self-esteem, and to empower ourselves for our relentless fight for social justice. Unfortunately, with our busy lives, it feels like there is never enough time to read a book. Fortunately, there's a solution. With Blacklist Ed, their app provides key insights from best-selling books about the Black experience, therefore saving you time, increasing your knowledge, and empowering yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. You can read or listen on the go. Start your free trial today by going to blacklisted.com. That's Black without the C, B-L-A-K. Or you can download the Blacklist Ed app from the App Store or Google Play. Blacklist Ed, empower yourself. Yaya Rule is a line of African print-inspired apparel catered to the Black community. The pieces include T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, dresses, skirts, activewear, bags, and other accessories and home decor. This brand offers a revived way for men and women to wear their Black pride and honor their African heritage anywhere at any time. This apparel line is for anyone, whether you are working in the corporate world, are an entrepreneur, or an artist. Their selection will allow you to casually let your pride shine or dress it up as wanted. It is for those who have already embraced African fabrics and for those who are just getting introduced to them.